So here in Taiwan, I mean, you have Chinese people, but they've never had to deal with the one-child policy, and that's something you guys have asked me so much about. Why can you only have one child in China? Well, to preface this, I have to say that China just abolished the one-child policy, making it the two-China policy. So they kind of knew that there was some massive societal impacts of limiting a population, having too many elderly, and having no one to take care of them in the future. But instead of going gung-ho and saying you can have as many kids as you want, they did a two-child kind of policy deal. Now this hasn't been special because it's already existed in the countryside for minorities, so non-Han Chinese people, as a benefit for the government to kind of give them more rights and freedoms that they may have not had in the past. So it's kind of interesting to talk about because the one-child policy has had a direct impact on a lot of people I know, actually most people I know, and particularly my wife. So I want to talk to her about this and what the changes mean for the future. And does this affect us being a foreigner with a Chinese person and having a child already? Can I only have two now?
I'm an only child in my house. Back then in our generation, only child policy is really strict in a city, especially if your parents work for either government or either work for a government-owned school or something like that, some decent job. Even like big, some really big company, you're not allowed to have a second child. Like, it just really strict to the point that if the government find out you have another kid, your job, your whole family's job, like the husband and the wives got fired right away, and then they get to have some like massive fine and something. Back then, I remember my dad mentioned about a bunch of his coworkers got fired because of that. But now thinking about it, it's just kind of stupid. So a lot of city kids like us, in my generation, they are single child too. But they cause, when we grow up, it's now caused a huge problem because because life is not easy in China. So if both of the young couple, they are both single child, that means they need to like take care of 4 old people. Not even 4, there's just like minimum 4 people, like they're both of people's parents. And then if their grandparents are there, it's technically like even worse. Like you couldn't even handle the stress by the time like that happens. A lot of people are gonna ask me why we need to take care of our parents. First of all, the retirement program in China is not that good. And the second is like in hospital, like in America or in a lot of developed country, you don't need to stay with your family if they get sick or they got injured or they need to stay in the hospital. But in China you do. You need to like 24 hours watching them. So literally it's just like dragging your whole family down. Like the whole family can't work. But imagine, think about it though. Now I'm still like really frightened by the time my parents gonna get older and what's gonna happen to me. Because both of my parents, like, if I'm so far away from them, so if any of them gets sick and I am the only child, what help can I get? I don't have sibling can help me, and my parents got sibling, but by the time they're just old, they couldn't do anything. So Chinese people said rely on family. That's another main reason. They said like you gotta use up your human resource to maintain that person's life. My grandpa, when the last straw of his death, it's because we trying to hire caretaker to watch him for overnight, because like it's been like month and month, nobody have good sleep because we need to watch him. But at that time my grandpa was like in his last straw or something, but he not supposed to die that early, just because of other people's miscare, and they didn't pay attention to what happened. And my grandpa, apparently the thing got choked in his throat, he died. And like to the point that's like after 4 hours he's totally frozen in the bed, die, nobody know until we get there, which would pay for the hospital people to do that. A lot of people wonder, like, where's the nurse? Nurse is sleeping. Where's the doctor? Doctor is sleeping. So like that's a really scary thing. So the only person you can trust is your sibling or your relative, but we don't have any. What can we do? Well, now they changed to two-child policy. They changed this two-child policy. It's like so many times for years and years, people trying their best to fight for that. Why they finally make the decision is because old people is way too much. The young people is being too stressful. The suicidal rate is like up to the roof. Like too many old people expecting you to raise them. Like the society is getting way more stressful than you can know, especially in big city. And also by the law, they only control those people who have educated, have a decent job. Like when you go to the countryside, they have tons of kids also. Why? Because they can dodge the law. So that's like, and I remember it was so funny to the point that like I remember there was a movie, they were mentioned about like at the end of the day, the stupid, uneducated people keep having kids, and then the educated people don't have the kids. I think right now it's like to the point that have that also have a society problem that like educated parents can't afford to have one kid or have more than 2 kids because of the law back then, and the countryside uneducated people just keep pumping kids out. So yeah, in China the population is huge, but you think about the education level, it's just appalling. So also like I think also that China have a massive problem about educated like wealthy people living China. I think that will be one of the problem they concern, and they really seriously scared of the retirement and hospital, all those situations. Even they have the money, they couldn't buy the safety. That's the sad part. Even right now we have a like in China, they're pumping out all those laws and try to change, and I don't know, by the time my parents get old and start to like, you know, fall their bodies start to falling apart, will there actually be a thing can help us and save our life? Like I'm the one of the victim, and I was terrified. Like that was literally my nightmare. On time to time I sleep and I woke up because I feel like my life is the end if my parents' health is going downhill.
So the one-child policy obviously had massive devastating effects on an entire population and society, even causing things like forced abortions and people having children without identities to avoid punishment. Who knows where the two-child policy is actually going to go with this thing, because at the end of the day, it's kind of like a band-aid on a serious issue. When Chairman Mao promoted the birth of a ton of people, exploded the population, and then drastically tried to curb that, and now trying to, I don't know, I feel really bad for the future generation of kids in a strict society that, you know, relies on filial piety for the future care of their parents, have to deal with a lot. And yeah, so we'll see what happens. I have a feeling that the two-child policy will actually kind of loosen a bit to the point where people will be able to pay smaller bribes, smaller punishments and fines to actually have more children. I want to say thank you so much, Laowinners. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, hit the subscribe button so you can see content all the time. Make sure the bell button's clicked as well. If you want to see behind the scenes stuff or stuff I can't always talk about in public, go to patreon.com/Laowinners. Thank you very much, Laowinners. I'll catch you on the next one.
Thank you so much for watching, Laowinners. You can click right below here to watch another Laowinners video, which comes out every single Wednesday at 1 PM EST. Top right corner, you can click ADVChina, which is me and Serpent Zaday's collaboration channel, which you can watch every Monday at 1 p.m. EST. And right below that, watch a Serpent Zaday video, which comes out every Friday at 1 p.m. EST.